Betrayal cuts deepest when the knife is held by someone you trust. Welcome to a dark journey behind the closed doors of British high society from the 1960s to the 1990s. Today, we uncover the secret lives of 10 iconic stars who crossed the ultimate line, stepping into the arms of the husbands of their closest friends and even sisters. How did these forbidden romances destroy lives and ruin reputations forever? Subscribe to our channel right now and leave a comment telling us which story you find the most shocking. The truth is going to leave you breathless. Helena Bonham Carter. The British acting elite of the early 1990s seemed impenetrable, a tight circle of respect and mutual admiration. Yet, beneath the polished surface of aristocratic dramas and theatrical triumphs, a devastating storm was brewing. A young and immensely talented actress, known for her corseted roles and angelic face, was about to shatter the illusions of perfect camaraderie. She was welcomed into the inner circle, trusted implicitly by her peers, only to break the most sacred bond of professional friendship. The stark contrast between her innocent on-screen persona and her real-life choices would soon leave the nation in sheer disbelief. During the filming of a major cinematic project in 1994, the boundaries between professional collaboration and personal desire began to blur. The director of the film, a highly respected figure in British cinema, was married to one of the most beloved actresses of their generation. The wife had embraced the younger star warmly, treating her as a dear friend and a valued colleague. But behind the heavy velvet curtains of the set, secret glances and whispered conversations were forming a dangerous connection. They spent long hours together, a creative intimacy that crossed the line into a hidden relationship. The betrayal did not happen overnight. It was a slow, agonizing unraveling of a marriage that the public believed was invincible. The young starlet and the director embarked on a passionate, hidden romance, completely disregarding the devastating emotional toll it would take on the woman who trusted them both. When the truth finally emerged, it sent shockwaves through the industry. The betrayed wife was left to navigate a profound heartbreak, her world turned upside down by the sudden collapse of her family. The betrayal felt particularly cruel because it happened right under her nose, within their shared creative community. The media frenzy that followed in the mid-1990s was utterly merciless. The once pristine image of the English rose was forever tarnished, replaced by the reputation of a woman who prioritized her own desires over loyalty and friendship. Tabloids relentlessly chased the newly formed couple, analyzing the scandal with predatory enthusiasm. The pain inflicted upon the beloved wife resonated deeply with the public, transforming the scandal into a legendary tale of heartbreak. She channeled her grief into her work, delivering moving performances that echoed the crushing reality of a shattered heart and a completely broken home. Years later, the wounds slowly healed, and a fragile peace was eventually established between the women involved. The betrayed actress publicly stated that holding on to bitterness was a pointless exercise, choosing grace over endless resentment. She found the strength to rebuild her life, emerging even more respected than before. However, the echo of that betrayal remained a defining chapter in the history of British cinema. It serves as a chilling reminder that even the most beautiful faces are capable of inflicting profound pain on those who offer them nothing but unconditional trust and open arms. Antonia Fraser. High society London in the 1970s was a glittering maze of intellectual salons and exclusive dinner parties. Within this privileged world, a celebrated playwright and his fiercely talented actress wife seemed to reign supreme. They were the golden couple of the theatrical scene, deeply respected by their peers and adored by the press. However, the arrival of a renowned aristocratic author and historian into their intimate circle would soon trigger a chain of events that culminated in one of the most tragic betrayals of the decade. The stage was perfectly set for a drama far more painful than any play. In the fateful year of 1975, the polished facade of polite society finally cracked. The aristocratic writer and the famous playwright embarked on a deeply passionate, hidden romance that defied all social norms. The true cruelty of the situation lay in their shared social sphere. The men and women involved frequently crossed paths at elite gatherings in Chelsea and Notting Hill, sharing drinks and intimate conversations. The devoted wife had absolutely no reason to suspect that the sophisticated woman she considered a respected peer was quietly dismantling her marriage behind her back. When the dark truth finally surfaced, the emotional impact was absolutely devastating. The playwright abruptly ended his marriage of 19 years, confessing his unwavering devotion to the historian. The abandoned wife was left completely stranded in a violent storm of public humiliation and profound personal grief. While the new couple boldly defended their union, completely absorbed in their newfound happiness, the displaced actress was utterly crushed by the sudden and ruthless betrayal from within her own trusted tribe. The very people who once toasted her success now turned their eyes away in embarrassment. Unable to navigate the agonizing reality of her shattered life, the discarded wife sought solace in the darkest corners of despair. She turned to destructive habits in a desperate attempt to numb the overwhelming pain of her broken heart and shattered pride. Her once brilliant theatrical career, which had brought her immense joy and critical acclaim, slowly faded into the background as she missed rehearsals and lost roles. The same elite circle that once enthusiastically applauded her stage triumphs now watched in uncomfortable, hypocritical silence as she descended into a deeply tragic and lonely spiral. The final chapter of this devastating saga concluded in 1982, when the heartbroken actress quietly passed away. Her physical decline was deeply intertwined with the emotional ruin caused by the ultimate betrayal. The author and the playwright went on to build a highly celebrated life together, heavily praised by the literary establishment. Yet the lingering shadow of the woman who lost absolutely everything remained a chilling reminder of the cold cruelty that often lurks behind the closed doors of the intellectual elite. The ghost of her sorrow could never be fully erased. Patty Boyd. The London rock scene of the late 1960s and 1970s was an intoxicating whirlwind of fame and excess. At the center of this universe stood the ultimate rock muse, a woman whose ethereal beauty inspired some of the greatest love songs of the 20th century. But beneath the glamorous surface of platinum records lay a complicated web of shocking betrayals. She was a central figure in an elite group of rock wives, a tight sisterhood that shared the unique pressures of immense global fame. This exclusive group of women relied on each other for emotional support, forming deep bonds while their legendary partners toured the world. However, the intoxicating environment of endless parties soon led to a devastating breach of trust. The celebrated muse, despite her own high-profile marriage, began to cross dangerous lines with other musicians within their enclosed circle. She embarked on a deeply passionate connection with a famous guitarist, completely ignoring the fact that his wife was her close confidant. For a time, the illicit romance was carefully hidden behind the chaotic lifestyle of the rock elite. The lovers shared stolen moments in private recording studios, swept up in a dangerous game of deception. The betrayed wife, meanwhile, continued to welcome the muse into her home, trusting her as a loyal friend. The blatant hypocrisy of sitting at the same dinner table while secretly dismantling her friend's marriage added a layer of profound cynicism to the forbidden affair. In the enclosed world of rock royalty, secrets of this magnitude could never remain buried. When the agonizing truth finally came to light in the mid-1970s, the fallout was catastrophic. The revelation shattered the illusion of their bohemian utopia, leaving a trail of broken hearts. The betrayed friend was absolutely devastated, forced to confront the harsh reality that the woman she trusted implicitly had been secretly pursuing her husband right in front of her eyes. The scandal sent immediate shockwaves through the tight-knit community, forcing friends to take sides and permanently altering the dynamics of their legendary social circle. The muse found herself alienated from the very women who had once been her strongest support system. While the rock stars themselves often brushed off such indiscretions, the emotional damage inflicted upon the women involved was deep and lasting. The bond of female friendship had been sacrificed for fleeting desire. As the turbulent decade eventually closed, the immediate sting of the betrayal slowly faded, replaced by a weary acceptance of their chaotic reality. The muse moved on to other highly publicized relationships, her reputation forever intertwined with both legendary inspiration and quiet destruction. Yet the deep scars left by her actions served as a powerful testament to the destructive nature of unchecked desires. The story remains a poignant reminder of the devastating wake of emotional wreckage she left behind. Anita Pallenberg. Deep in the heart of the London underground scene of the 1960s, a mesmerizing woman held unparalleled influence over the biggest rock band of the era. She was a fierce creative force and an absolute style icon who defined the aesthetic of a generation. Her closest confidant was an angelic singer, the delicate partner of the band's magnetic frontman. Together, these two women formed an inseparable duo, navigating the chaotic world of global stardom as absolute best friends, relying heavily on each other for emotional survival in a highly unpredictable and frenzied environment. But the bohemian ideals of free expression often masked a cold and calculating reality. In 1968, during the filming of a notoriously dark and psychological movie, the boundaries of personal loyalty were completely obliterated. The enigmatic style icon found herself co-starring alongside her best friend's partner. Isolated on a secluded set far away from the watchful eyes of London, the intense creative atmosphere quickly dissolved into a deeply secret liaison. She crossed the ultimate line, engaging in a hidden, passionate romance with the very man her dearest friend loved beyond measure. The betrayal was exceptionally cruel, primarily because of the intense closeness the two women had previously shared. While the gentle singer waited patiently at home, entirely trusting her best friend and her partner, the two were engaging in a reckless betrayal that would permanently alter the dynamics of their legendary group. The illicit connection was a profound violation of the sacred sisterhood they had built to survive the harsh, male-dominated music industry. The dark secret festered in the shadows, transforming their once pure friendship into a complex, ugly web of lies and unspoken guilt. When the agonizing truth inevitably reached the delicate singer, the emotional devastation was absolute and entirely crushing. She was completely broken by the horrifying realization that her most trusted confidant had callously stepped into her partner's arms without a single second thought or ounce of regret. The profound double betrayal plunged her into a deep emotional abyss, leading her down a highly destructive path of dark coping mechanisms and overwhelming despair. She lost not only her romantic partner, but the one fiercely loyal woman she believed would always protect her from the world. The instigator of this severe heartbreak continued her reign within the rock aristocracy, seemingly unapologetic about the immense emotional chaos she left in her wake. The heavy tension created by her reckless actions nearly destroyed the legendary musical collective, breeding a highly toxic atmosphere of deep suspicion and bitter rivalry among the members. Yet the most tragic casualty of all was the beautiful, supportive friendship between the two women. The innocent trust that once bound the women of their elite inner circle was permanently shattered into a million irreparable pieces. Paula Yates. The television screens of the 1980s and 1990s were completely dominated by a brilliantly sharp and utterly fearless presenter. She was the absolute darling of the British media landscape, known for her rapid-fire wit and a seemingly perfect family life with a universally adored charitable musician. They were the ultimate power couple of the era, sitting comfortably at the center of a vast network of elite celebrity friendships. However, the glittering illusion of her domestic bliss was destined for a spectacular, deeply painful, and highly public collapse. The fatal turning point arrived in the mid-1990s when a legendary international rock star entered her direct orbit. He was a wildly charismatic frontman with a dangerously seductive reputation, and his magnetic arrival immediately disrupted the established order of her deeply entrenched social circle. Despite being a mother and a wife to a man considered a veritable national treasure, she found herself hopelessly drawn into an intense, all-consuming connection. The strict boundaries of loyalty and the sacred trust of her close-knit friends were suddenly cast aside. The betrayal was not merely a private, quiet failing. It was a highly visible destruction of a family unit that her closest friends had fiercely protected and held up as an ideal. As the secret liaison blossomed into a blazing, unapologetic romance, the television presenter turned her back entirely on the women and men who had supported her for well over a decade. She openly paraded her new relationship across the globe, showing a complete and utter disregard for the profound humiliation inflicted upon her husband and the collective shock of their shared social group. The mainstream media reaction in the pivotal year of 1995 was absolutely unprecedented in its sheer, unrelenting ferocity. Tabloids ruthlessly dissected every single detail of the scandalous affair, rapidly transforming her from a universally beloved television icon into a highly polarizing figure of deceit. The loyal friends who had once filled her bustling London home felt deeply alienated and profoundly betrayed, unable to reconcile the kind woman they knew with the reckless persona she had adopted. She was effectively exiled from the elite society she once commanded. The long-term consequences of this explosive, life-altering choice were incredibly severe and fundamentally heartbreaking for everyone caught in the crossfire. The fierce passion that had driven her to willingly sacrifice her most valued personal relationships eventually led down a deeply tragic, entirely chaotic path from which she could never return. By choosing an intoxicating romance over the steady, unwavering loyalty of her family and lifelong confidants, she lost the vital emotional support system that anchored her world. Her dramatic fall from grace remains a devastating cautionary tale. Mary Ure. The vibrant theatrical landscape of London in the 1950s was a place of fierce ambition, intense rivalries, and shifting loyalties. It was an insular world where a rising Scottish actress, known for her striking blonde beauty and intense stage presence, was steadily making her mark. She was surrounded by a close circle of ambitious performers, women who shared cramped dressing rooms and supported each other through the grueling demands of the stage. Yet, relentless ambition can sometimes entirely overshadow the sacred bonds of professional solidarity and true friendship. The pivotal moment of destruction arrived when a revolutionary new playwright began seeking the perfect leading lady for his highly anticipated drama. He was a profoundly influential figure, widely considered the defining voice of an entirely new generation, but he was also officially bound to another woman in their immediate theatrical circle. His wife was a fellow actress, a respected colleague who had worked directly alongside the Scottish star. Ignoring the unspoken rules of their tight-knit community, The rising actress saw a totally undeniable opportunity to elevate her own status. Behind the heavy velvet curtains of intense rehearsals and secretive late-night cast meetings, a forbidden romance rapidly blossomed into a scandalous affair. The celebrated playwright and the ambitious actress became intimately entangled, completely disregarding the marriage vows he had made to her theatrical peer. The betrayed wife was left to endure the profound humiliation of watching her husband slip away with a woman she considered a professional equal. The shared space of the stage suddenly became a painful battleground of broken trust and shattered illusions for the entire theatrical company. The immediate professional results of this calculated alliance were undeniably spectacular and entirely game-changing for her trajectory. The infatuated playwright cast his new muse in the prominent lead role of his most famous production, catapulting her to international stardom in 1956. The play became a legendary success, and she instantly became the glowing face of the new theatrical movement. However, this monumental career triumph came at a severe social cost. Her reputation was permanently stained by the incredibly cold betrayal of a deeply respected colleague. While the critics enthusiastically praised her raw performance and the eager audiences flocked to the theaters, the tight community of British actresses quietly turned their backs on her. The illicit romance eventually led to an official marriage, but the foundation built on the devastating heartbreak of another woman proved to be incredibly fragile. Her ultimate legacy in the theatrical world remained a highly complex mixture of brilliant artistic achievement and the chilling memory of a ruthless pragmatism that sacrificed professional sisterhood for absolute industry dominance. Sarah Miles. The golden age of British cinema was filled with eccentric personalities, but few possessed the sheer, unbridled magnetism of a certain aristocratic actress who completely defied convention. She was a wild spirit, known for her breathtaking performances and an off-screen life that was even more dramatic than any script. Moving effortlessly through the highest echelons of the film industry in the 1960s and 1970s, she forged deep connections with her female co-stars. Yet, beneath her unpredictable exterior lay a dangerous tendency to completely disregard the marital boundaries of the women she called her friends. Unlike a single, isolated incident of betrayal, her approach to romance was a continuous, chaotic storm that repeatedly devastated the personal lives of her colleagues. She viewed the world as a boundless stage where her desires took absolute precedence over social etiquette and the sacred bonds of sisterhood. Whenever she felt a spark of attraction, the fact that a man was happily married to a fellow actress was simply an irrelevant detail. This reckless mindset meant she frequently found herself entangled with the husbands of the very women she shared intimate conversations with during film shoots. The most damaging episodes usually occurred during remote location shoots, where the intense isolation of filmmaking created a distorted sense of reality. Surrounded by stunning landscapes, she would inevitably draw the attention of a charismatic leading man whose wife waited patiently back in London. She would use her eccentric charm and undeniable vulnerability to forge an intense emotional bond, completely erasing the existence of the man's family. The female colleagues who had initially welcomed her with open arms were left completely blind to the agonizing betrayal unfolding right behind their backs. Whenever the harsh truth of these hidden liaisons inevitably broke through the protective bubble of the film set, the resulting emotional wreckage was absolutely catastrophic. The betrayed women were forced to endure the agonizing humiliation of discovering that their charming friend had been the architect of their profound sorrow. Whispers of her latest conquest would rapidly spread through the tight-knit acting community, creating an atmosphere of deep paranoia and intense mistrust among the wives of the industry. She became a highly polarizing figure, deeply feared in private social settings. Despite the immense pain she repeatedly caused, the star rarely showed any conventional remorse for the shattered relationships left in her wake. She continued to navigate her illustrious career while simultaneously burning down the bridges of female solidarity. By the time the 1980s arrived, her reputation was firmly cemented in cinematic history. The glamorous premieres were often shadowed by the silent pain of the colleagues who lost their partners to her allure. Ultimately, the trail of ruined marriages stands as a stark reminder of the cold reality hidden behind 20th century stardom. Joan Collins. The dazzling international jet set of the mid-20th century was an arena where breathtaking glamour frequently concealed a dark undercurrent of absolute ruthlessness. Among the glittering socialites and iconic beauties of the era, one British star stood out for her razor-sharp ambition and a completely unapologetic approach to love and romantic conquest. She was the ultimate symbol of high society elegance, universally adored by global audiences for her fiercely independent on-screen personas. However, her real-life romantic escapades often mirrored the highly dramatic, scandalous scripts she brought to vivid life. Moving fluidly through the most exclusive circles of London and Hollywood, she naturally gathered a close network of fabulous, influential women. Yet, this fragile sisterhood was never a reliable barrier when a captivating man caught her discerning eye. During the glittering, hedonistic decades of the 1960s and 1970s, her pursuit of romance was famously unrelenting and intensely focused. If she found herself attracted to a charming gentleman, the inconvenient presence of a wedding ring or his established commitment to one of her personal acquaintances presented no obstacle whatsoever to her desires. This fiercely pragmatic, almost cold calculation meant she frequently stepped directly into the established relationships of the very women she dined with at London's most exclusive restaurants. She seemed to treat romantic pursuits as a thrilling, competitive arena, entirely dismissing the severe emotional collateral damage inflicted upon the devoted wives residing in her immediate social sphere. The devastating consequences of these deliberate transgressions were felt deeply within the elite party circuits, permanently altering the delicate dynamics of their tight-knit, incredibly wealthy society. Prominent women who had warmly confided their deepest insecurities to her over evening drinks quickly learned the incredibly bitter lesson that their partners were never truly safe from her magnetic, undeniably potent charm. The sheer audacity of carrying on passionate, secret liaisons with the husbands of her supposed friends sparked fierce public feuds and, predictably, resulted in a long string of abruptly severed friendships. Her reckless actions caused immense heartbreak, leaving behind a tragic trail of completely disillusioned peers who were forced to rebuild their shattered domestic lives alone. By the time she ascended to the absolute peak of global television superstardom in the excess-driven 1980s, she was as deeply feared in private as she was revered in public. The commanding actress publicly defended her right to seek personal happiness on her own terms, casually brushing off the harsh criticism from those who rightfully accused her of profound emotional disloyalty. While her spectacular career continued to soar, permanently cementing her status as an untouchable cultural icon, the chaotic legacy of her personal life remained a chilling reminder that true loyalty is often the first casualty of desire. Diana Dors. The post-war British cinematic landscape desperately needed a symbol of pure, unadulterated glamour, and it found one in a legendary blonde bombshell. She was a true icon of the 1950s and 1960s, captivating audiences with her dazzling smile and undeniable magnetism. Beneath the platinum hair and the glittering public persona, however, lay a highly complex woman with a voracious appetite for romance. She cultivated a tight group of female friends, welcoming them into her lavish world. Yet this glittering facade often hid a dark propensity for ultimate betrayal. The cultural revolution of the 1960s brought a wave of newfound liberation, but for this celebrated actress, it provided an opportunity to cross boundaries that should have remained entirely sacred. She became notorious for hosting incredibly lavish, extravagant gatherings at her magnificent countryside estates. During these wild, champagne-fueled weekend parties, the heavy atmosphere of excess frequently led her directly into the arms of men who were legally bound to the very women she called her dearest confidants. The sheer audacity of her calculated deception left her peers completely blind to the impending danger. A trusted friend would attend a glamorous dinner party, entirely unaware that the radiant hostess was secretly engaging in a passionate, hidden liaison with her husband right under her nose. The devastating betrayal was expertly masked by her overwhelming charisma and the constant, chaotic swirl of her highly publicized life, making it nearly impossible for her friends to suspect the cruel reality unfolding in the shadows. When the agonizing truth of these illicit connections inevitably surfaced, the emotional destruction was absolutely catastrophic. The loyal women who had stood faithfully by her side during the turbulent highs and lows of her immense career found their own happy homes completely shattered by her reckless desires. The British tabloids, always hungry for a sensational scandal, occasionally caught wind of these entanglements, but the deepest, most permanent wounds were always inflicted in private, far away from the blinding flash of the cameras. As the decades slowly progressed into the 1980s, her formidable status as a national treasure remained firmly intact. She was widely celebrated as a bold pioneer of unapologetic femininity and resilience. However, the forgotten casualties of her endless romantic conquests painted a much more tragic and complicated picture. The profoundly heartbroken friends she left behind served as silent, sorrowful witnesses to a devastating truth. In her relentless, lifelong pursuit of intense passion, the unwavering loyalty of a friend was merely a temporary obstacle. Marianne Faithfull. The swinging London of the 1960s was a vibrant epicenter of musical revolution and artistic rebellion. At the very core of this explosive movement was a young, ethereally beautiful singer who captivated the hearts of the era's most legendary musicians. She possessed a delicate voice and an innocent aura that concealed a highly strategic and fiercely ambitious survivor. Navigating the treacherous waters of the Bohemian aristocracy, she formed fragile alliances with a small circle of women who shared the unique burden of dating global superstars. However, the utopian ideals of peace and universal love were frequently discarded when personal desires clashed with the sacred bonds of sisterhood. Within the incredibly tight and deeply insular music community, she actively participated in the relentless internal dramas that defined the turbulent decade. When a captivating new artist or a powerful producer caught her attention, the established romantic boundaries of her few female friends were casually and ruthlessly ignored. She stepped directly into the existing relationships of her peers, justifying her reckless actions through the chaotic philosophy of the changing times. This blatant disregard for the feelings of her closest confidants fostered a deeply toxic atmosphere of profound mistrust and intense rivalry among the elite creative circles. A loyal friend who offered a comforting shoulder to cry on during a difficult international tour could suddenly find herself replaced in her own home. The young singer engaged in secret, highly passionate connections with men who were already committed to the women standing right beside her at exclusive underground parties. The ongoing betrayal was a quiet, suffocating poison that slowly eroded the foundational trust of their entire social group. As the bright psychedelic colors of the 1960s faded into the darker, much more cynical reality of the 1970s, the devastating consequences of these internal betrayals became entirely impossible to hide. The shattered friendships left a tragic trail of profoundly wounded women who were forced to exit the glamorous scene completely broken and disillusioned. The singer herself eventually descended into a highly destructive personal abyss, struggling intensely to survive the heavy emotional fallout of the chaotic environment she had actively helped create. The loyal sisterhood she deliberately destroyed was no longer there to save her from the gathering darkness. By the time she miraculously resurfaced and successfully rebuilt her career in the late 1970s and 1980s, her artistic legacy was permanently intertwined with dark tales of tragedy and survival. She was widely celebrated as a battle-scarred icon of the era, but the forgotten friends who lost their partners to her ambition carried the silent, permanent scars of her ultimate disloyalty. Her dramatic story serves as the final, agonizing proof that in the relentless pursuit of legendary status, the deepest cuts are always inflicted by the closest friends.